Here's an example of calling a method with a value parameter. So in this example, we have our main method, and we're declaring an integer and assigning it a value of 4. Console write line, the main quantity is 4 at this moment. So if we have a method that we've created, you notice that this is outside of the main method. Here's the beginning and here's the end of our main method. We have this method which is called display value parameter. And whenever it is called, it has to be sent an integer value, and here we assign a name to it. It can be any name as long as it's a legal name for an integer. So that's passed into this method. Now, once this is inside, what it's doing here is that it's assigning that the value 777, so that when it displays this uh, uh, console write line, it's going to display the value 777. So this is just an example of passing a value to a method. And in this case, you pass one value, which is 4, into this method, and here it's changed into a different value when it comes to the method. Okay, and in this case, it's void, so nothing is returned. In our previous example, once we called this method called display, in our previous example, when we called our method, which was here, we passed it by value, which means that we actually passed a copy of quantity 4, not the actual value which is stored there. When you do int quantity equals 4, what you do is you go into the computer's memory and you create a location called quantity. And in that location, in this case, you're storing the value 4. Uh, when you go to pass that value, if you just say quantity and pass quantity, what you're doing is you're not actually passing what's stored in this actual location. You're just passing a copy of it. So when you pass it down here and change it, it's only changed down here. So when you bounce back up, when you go through this line and then this line and then return back up here, when you do console write, if you just pass by value, you're not changing anything. So quantity 4 was never changed, so it's going to print out the value 4 here, even though it may have been changed down here. So how do you um, how do you change that actual location, what's stored in that actual location called quantity 4? Well, what you do is you pass by reference. And what you're saying is pass the value of quantity, but pass the actual um, location of where it's stored in the computer's memory. Pass that actual location. So when you pass, in this case, uh, let's say we're passing a variable called quantity. Here we're calling it number. Uh, but we're passing it by reference. So we're actually going into that location in the computer's memory, which has the value stored, 4 stored there, and we're passing that location in the computer's memory here. So when we actually store a value there, we're not just storing a copy of the value, we're actually replacing what's in that memory location. So when you print it out here, it's going to be 888. But also when you're done with this and go back here and print it out, you'll notice that it's 888 there also, because the original value has been changed. So that's passing by value, where you're passing just a copy of what's in that memory location, and passing by reference, where you pass the actual memory location and you've changed whatever's stored in that location. Okay, passing by value, passing by reference.